Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nosy Neighbors, the channel for beginners, casual users, and fragrance enthusiasts. My name is James. I'm glad to see y'all all back with us. We got a great video for you today. Let's jump right into it. You know, in the course of us being frag heads, we get a lot of questions about what fragrance to use, what we recommend, what notes belong with what sort of activities for what sort of day, and generally try to answer those questions to the best of our ability, obviously with our own opinions. But you know, what we seem to be lacking is a general understanding of where fragrances actually come from. So today's video is actually going to focus on the history of fragrances, history of perfumes and scents, and how it morphed from a specific type of usage in our social lives into the multi-billion-dollar industry that it is today. So let's get started. So where do perfumes and fragrances come from? Well, first of all, the word perfume is actually derived from the ancient Latin perfumere, which means to smoke through. So just in case you want a little tidbit of knowledge, now you know. Anyways, what we've seen in the archaeological record is that as a matter of fact, most of our ancient civilizations, the Indus River Valley, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Africans, and Chinese actually used fragrances in their day-to-day lives. We're going to talk about some of those uses a little bit later, but fragrances has been around as long as sophisticated civilizations have been around. So it's nothing new to humans. We've always loved to smell good as the human race. So, as a matter of fact, the world's first recorded instance of perfumery was captured on a cuneiform tablet in 2nd millennium BC in ancient Mesopotamia of a chemist by the name of Taputi, who actually mixed in flowers, seeds, oils, and calamus into a distillery over and over again until it became a fragrant oil to be used and applied to the body. So just in case you needed another little tidbit, that's all. In 2003, archaeologists uncovered what they believe to be the oldest known perfumes on the record. They are thought to be 4,000 years old. 4,000 years old. Obviously, the perfumes had decomposed into their separate components, but when put together and tested, they were seen to form some sort of aromatic scent. And this was found in Cyprus, which is in the Mediterranean Sea. So obviously, perfume trade had to be a major industry, at least in some part in the Mediterranean 4,000 years. Not only actual perfumes, but perfumeries, where the factories where perfumes have been made, manufactured, and sold out of potentially have been found all over the world. There is actually a school of researchers who research ancient perfumes, ancient recipes, and try to create them, bring them back from extinction into the new world. There's actually a link down below about some of the research that has been done trying to bring ancient Greek perfumes back to life. It was titled The Book of the Chemistry and Perfume and Distillations, which contained more than 100 recipes for fragrances, oils, distillation techniques, and distillation materials, which makes it one of the first complete compendiums of perfumery in the world. What were fragrances used for back in ancient times? Well, as you might have guessed, the number one usage of fragrances was actually by the nobility. So those who are noble chose to distinguish themselves by perfumes, scents, oils, and incense, and they chose to apply that to their bodies and to their clothing. Which is 100% the exact same way that we use them today. However, they were also used in several other instances in governmental institutions, religious ceremonies, and funerary. As a matter of fact, there have been multiple recorded instances in ancient Egyptian tombs and on hieroglyphs that fragrances were used not only to prepare bodies, they were used to ward off evil spirits, and also they were stored in the tombs of the deceased so that they could go take them with them to the next. For the most part, in ancient times, fragrances consisted of a few things: frankincense, myrrh, calamus. Sources you had barks, woods, leaves, twigs, resins, basically anything they could get their hands on in terms of what could be crushed up and made to have an aromatic smell. So how were fragrances made in ancient times? Well, the most common sources were plant and animal sources, and drum roll, see if you can guess what the most common source of plant life was. Flowers. That's right. Flowers and blossoms were constantly boiled in water, distilled just like tea, crushed up, made into pastes, put into water or another oil or compound, and then created to be fragrances that can be applied to the body, clothes, burned as candles, so on and so forth. So obviously plant blossoms were used extensively to create fragrances. There's also woods, barks, leaves, and twigs. For instance, eucalyptus leaves and twigs can be crushed up and release that really breathy smell, that clean smell. Pine resin is actually also one that was used a lot. They derive pine sol from pine resin, so it makes sense that that would be used as a fragrance, and other natural aromatic substances in the plant world. Excuse me. So for your animal sources, you've got several things like ambergris, which is an oxidized fatty compound found in sperm whales. You've got musk, which are pods or sacs that are found in Himalayan deer, male Himalayan deer to be specific. You've got castoreum, which are sacs found in North American beaver. And you've got the more common honeycomb, which obviously is found in beehives. Then as we get closer and closer to modern times, you've got the advent of synthetic compounds, one of the most common of which is white musk. Since the male Himalayan deer was hunted almost to extinction for its musk, they created a synthetic compound that mimics natural musk as much as possible, and that's actually called white musks. So you'll see a lot of fragrances nowadays have white musk instead of actual musk, but the ones that do have actual musk are generally going to run you all the way up in prices because of the rare nature of actual natural musk. So as you may have guessed, it's quite difficult to obtain some of the natural aromatics and natural odorants that go into making a fragrance. Generally, the more difficult it is to obtain the natural odorant or aromatic, the higher the price of the fragrance itself will be. For the most part, fragrances will have both natural aromatics and synthetic compounds in them that create the smells that we know today. You can actually still go to some parts of the world where aromatics are made for you on the spot. So you can have a custom mixture made just for you there. Obviously, it's going to run you up a little bit. However, the novelty of having a scent created just for you, because no scent is going to be the exact same when it's made by hand, is appealing to a lot of people. Okay, now that we got all of that stuff out of the way about the history of fragrances, what fragrances are actually composed of, let's talk about the notes that those aromatics and odorants create. So let's talk about our traditional categories, which are the categories that are emerged around 1900. Floral bouquet, amber or oriental, woody, leather, chiffre, and fougere. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, appreciate the wait. Sorry about that. We ran into some issues, getting the audio right and filming the video, but so we're just gonna cut in this part at the end. I appreciate you watching. Of course, always we got more great content for you guys to watch. So don't forget to like and subscribe, turn the bell on, notifications, all of that stuff like that. Live good, smell well. Peace.